And thank you so much for having us here, Pastor John. And also we want to thank you too for sending Pastor John to visit us in Cambodia. And we had a really great time over there. And we just today we want to update you a little bit about what's going on in Cambodia, because like we came to America like last May, and right now you probably heard about Cambodia and Thailand have been conflict and a war fighting, and so it occurred in July. One time fighting, and then the village that we've been working at, people had to be evacuated and flee, and so like the town was like a ghost town. And then August, another fighting start in August, October, and December. But December was the longest one, like 21 days. So the Thailand, they bombing, they shelling, and they use their jet F-16, like just bomb this most like civilian people. Again, I'm not like scolding or anything, but just this is the fact. And so right now we have about 80,000 family has not been back to their home yet, because like most of place that they flee, the Thai occupy, and they did not allow the people of Cambodia to go back. So we anticipate that when we go back in May 31st, this is something that we're gonna face, and so we appreciate for you to pray for the situation. And people like have so many things, you know, psychological, what's going on in the mind, hatred and everything. So please, and keep them in prayer for both sides, Thailand and Cambodia, yeah, for peace of that. And we would like to share a little bit of our background too, I mean how God has been using us, because we both were refugees, came to America and during the 80s, and then God just changed our heart, our minds, and to go back to Cambodia. So share with you a little briefly what God has been doing through our lives.
You heard about the Vietnam War. Probably most of you were not born yet at that time, but right after that, that war spilled to Cambodia. I was 9 years old, and the communists that occupied the land, their target was to eliminate all the educated, all the upper class and people related to former governments. And so a way to do that is to scatter families. So during that regime, I was sent to live in the concentration camps away from my family for 3.5 years without contact of family, living in the camp, forced labors, child labors, indoctrinated. I won't go all to the details, but at one time I was very sick and almost near death, and I cried out if my mom would come visit me. My mom only lived about 11 miles away from where I lived, but she was never allowed to come. I heard later on that she had tried to come visit me, but she was stopped at gunpoint in her head. They told her, "You're not a doctor, don't waste your time." And so, by the grace of God, I overcome whatever that illness I had, but my heart became bitter. And my family was devoted Buddhist follower before the regime. And I remember the doctrine taught that you do good, you earn good merits. And so I challenged Buddha, where are the goods that my parents did, how come? So I despise Buddha, but I couldn't verbal my expression, I only hold my heart. At that time, although my body healed, my heart was bitter. So I looked at natures around me, mountains and skies and birds and fox and all that. I said, even birds have a nest to go to. And fox have a hole to go to. I have a mom I couldn't go to. I said, who's create all this nature around me? There must be, who's that being? And I challenged, who you are, tell me. So those questions were never answered. Again, I could not express my anger. I could only hold in. After that regime's over, I was miraculously survived and reunited my family, only to discover that 63 members of my family were killed. And as we journeyed back to our hometown when we left, we learned that our home was burned to the ground and our property was claimed by someone else who arrived there first. Famines and hungers and fear for life that the government could not support. So my mom knew the way that we can survive is to escape the border, to go to find shelter in the refugee camps in the Thai border. To go to the camps means facing dangers of stepping on landmines, being faced by bandits, or soldiers, or guerrillas, or Thai soldiers, Vietnamese soldiers, Khmer soldiers. Any one of those would not hesitate to stop if they see a move. But my mother was determined that we have nothing left in Cambodia, nothing to hold us to. Let's go forward. She said, if we step on landmine, we'll die together. If we can be spotted by soldiers, we'll get killed. So life had no meaning for us. It took us some weeks to cross the border. My older sister at that time, after her husband got separated during the war, she was pregnant with her second child in her late trimester. And we traveled across the forest. Took weeks and days. And if you get a chance to watch the killing fields, our journey very similar to that, but 10 people. We made it to the refugee camps at the entrance, and there was a lot of international UN's workers who came to pull the help, and one by one they took us to different departments for treatments, for care for parasite, for scabies, for all kinds of tropical diseases, and one by one we got better. But my older sister, after she delivered a healthy baby girl, she lost her mind for a long period of time. So she had to be hospitalized in that refugee camp's hospital. The hospital was made of bamboos and grass roof and dirt floor, filthy, bad, there's nothing. But there's one nurse, a missionary nurse, in that refugee camp hospital, care for all the patients. I watched her from a distance. See, I was assigned to care for my sister, to give clothes and feed, change bedpan, all that. But every day I look forward to watch that nurse. The way she gently demonstrates the love and care, the way she whispers gentle care to the patient captured my attention. I said, what you got? I want it too. Because see where I came from, if you're rich and beautiful, you don't do that kind of work. That's a work of servants. But what made these ladies do such thing? And so I watched with admiration. A few weeks later, my sister came home, holding a new baby girl in her arms. She said, while I was in the hospital, I met a new God. His name is Jesus. We even followed the wrong God, Buddha. And this Jesus, we don't know much about him, but he promised good. Let's give him a try. So we did, and my sister took us to church, and I was put in the Sunday school program. We didn't have a building for the children, so we worshiped under the mango trees. About 80 kids to 2 teachers of chaotic Sunday school. That particular Sunday school, the teacher had the kids, they had homeworks to do, so they remember scriptures. And they would recite scripture and they get candy for pride. And one by one, the verse shouted out by the lips of those children that, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and for God so loved the world, and He gave His only Son. Whoever believes in Him should not perish. So the kids shouting verse by verse for candy, but I was like a sponge taking in. And then after the class was dismissed, teacher packed up her bag. I hang on to the teacher's skirt. Teacher, is that true? Is that the God who made the heaven and the earth? And she said, yeah. And then she busy packed her bag again and said, no, teacher, is that true? Is that God, the God who loved the world so much? I said, yeah. And then for the third time, teacher, is that true? That God loved? Can I be part of that family too? And then she stopped packing and said, yes, child. You can be part of that family too. And I prayed to receive Jesus at age 13. My family now 11 members. we got stuck in the refugee camp for almost 3 years. We're looking for sponsor. Nobody wanted to sponsor a big family. And we wait and we wait. And during our waiting, I asked God, I'm only a refugee girl. I don't know where my future would be like. But if you're willing, can you make me like that nurse? In now May 1982, my family was sponsored by a church in Long Island, New York to come to America. But I was 16 years old. Never been to school for 8 years. Only had second grade of education before the war. And now with a new culture, new language, learning through the help of kind teachers. I made through high school, through ESL, and then went to nursing. And I took everything twice because everything was so hard. And many times I wanted to give up. And I just, God, this is so hard. And God put a picture of that nurse in my mind. As a reminder, you want to be a nurse, work a little bit harder. And that was my motto. I took everything twice, took 6 years to get a 2 years program, and took 2 states, one became an RN. And in the process, we met and we married. And my mom was the proudest mother in New York City because I was the first child to have a college degree and a good job in, as a registered nurse in St. John Hospital. But we enjoying life. And my heart was empty, something restless. I asked God, what is it? I don't have to worry about war zone. I don't have to worry about lack of food or something going to kill me anymore. But why am I'm not content? Then I looked to scriptures, Romans 10. It said, for anyone who calls on the name of God shall be saved. But how can they call on the one whom they have not believed? And how can they believe in the one whom they have not heard? And how can anyone hear if nobody tell them? And how can they tell if nobody sent? So I felt that perhaps that nurse heard that call. And she said yes. And that opened the door for me to come to hear the gospel and they call and saved. And then we decided to go to Cambodia. We applied through the Alliance and I told my mom, soon I want to go back to Cambodia. Mom took a deep breath and sighed and said, child, we have no family left. Everyone was killed. And we just left the killing field. Why you want to go back? And what about your nursing? You worked so hard for that. To the mission field, there's no money there. And I wrestled, it's a good, everybody wanted to come to America to make money and nowhere to go back. And so I was like, God, yes, it's true. But then Jeremiah 29:11 reminded me that God knows the plans He had for me and plan to prosper me, not to harm me. And that was the determination. I told my mom that, yes, Mom, we did left the killing field, but we're not going back to the killing field. God have a plan for us, and we go to the living field. So in August 1995, we empty our apartment and put into 2 suitcases each at JFK Airport. I said, Mom, I would hope to come back after 2 years, because at that time when we said yes, the conflict is still active in Cambodia. We didn't think we were able to come back, but the calling was so strong. So we said that if Lord willing, we'll come back in 2 years. If not, I'll see you in heaven. But apparently God's not done with us yet. 30 years later, we're still going back to Cambodia.
My story similar to what Syna just told. Because 1975, when the communists took over Cambodia, I was 12 years old at that time. And then we were told to go to leave the city for 3 days, but then 3 days turned to, because like they said, American going to bomb the city. And so family just packing up clothes and food for 3 days. But then 3 days turned to 3.5 years to be able to come back to our hometown. And because like communists, they kill intelligent people that educated, people that wear glasses, considered like intelligent, and people that connect, work with the former government would be killed, because like I think the communist ideology is to wipe out all the older people, because they the more like corrupted society. So but I remember vividly during that regime, when the night time, So we kind of look at each other because like our young people, they took us to the concentration camp, put another camp away, separate us from parents, and nighttime probably the most fears that we ever had. Like because usually the company will come at nighttime and they would knock the door and said and they would point out to one of the young men or young boy like because they find out like this boy background connect with like working with the former government, something like that. So they would take them out. So which means that if they call to get out that night, which means that person would get killed. So we kind of look at each other before like the dawn, and we kind of say like, so who gonna be? Is it you or gonna be me? So like live in fear all the time. The nighttime is kind of like long night, and then just like longing for the morning. So move fast forward 1979, another war broke out, and I was able to come back to see my family. So when I met my family at that time, I vowed that I'm not again to leave them. We're going to live together, we're going to die together. But at that time, because the government just could not provide any food, we were unemployed, could not find any jobs. So I just decided that I'm going to escape Cambodia. And when I decided to escape Cambodia, I didn't tell my parents, because like it kind of like hard, because like I was away from them like 3.5 years already. Then I just told my aunt, like, Auntie, I'm gonna leave because I don't want to die with, like in all together with the family. So you don't hear anything from me like in 3 months. Maybe assume that I die somewhere, and make the journey through across the jungle with landmines and everything, but just determined like we must go, and it's not worth it to just live in Cambodia. Went all the way to the border, and I heard about refugee camp in Thailand. So went all the way through that to stay in a refugee camp in Thailand and lived about for 1 year. And then I met an uncle that lived there, and then I was able to come to America because my uncle, he was a former soldier working with the American and was accepted to come to America. So we flew from Thailand and to America, landed in JFK 1983. And at that time I just, wow, like I'm not going back to Cambodia. This country going to be my country. And I'm going to work hard and try to sponsor all my family to come to America. But then my sponsor told me like, Soeuth, you go to school. I was shocked because like I've been missed school for 8 years. And so I was able to attend high school, ESL, and but come to America, I mean like I have enough food to eat, place to stay, and warm place. I don't have to worry and afraid or somebody come to knock, nighttime, or scare or something like that. But I just feel like restless for me. Kind of figured out like what's going on with me. I mean like I should be happy, come to this country, and so try to go out with party with friends, hang out. But came home, it's just empty again. Feel like empty. What's going on? Didn't figure it out. And one day when I took a subway to school, and then I met a friend that used to go to church in the refugee camps. And so I asked him like, you still go to church, right? And he said, yeah, still go to church. So I asked him, and then he took me to church. For first week, I didn't really like a lot, but then second week I started to go again. And some people are more friendly and inviting, so they invite me to study or to go to Bible study, join Bible study on Saturday, and then come to church service on Sunday. But the more I come, the more I came. Then one day my uncle stopped me and asked me like, Soeuth, from now on you have to make decision. If you go to church, don't come back home. You stay in church. If you stay here, no church. So at the time I didn't have any relative, I didn't know anybody, and I thought like, what should I do? Church or stay home? And then I just called my pastor, and he in the Bronx, like I asked him like, Pastor, would it be okay if I can move in with you? And my pastor kind of like, said, I don't know yet. Let me pray about it. And I thought like, oh, prayer. Because like, I kind of want to answer quick answer, and then later on he called me like, okay, so move in. So I moved, and then during at that time I'm at Syna too. So so I finished high school, and then I asked my pastor like, I want to go to school. I want to go apply to good school and to make good money, and then I can sponsor my family to come to America. And then my pastor told me like, sir, why don't you try Naya College? And I thought like, what? Naya College is nothing. Besides what? Study to be a missionary, to be a pastor. They don't make a lot of money. And I want to go to school that I can make a lot of money. And then my pastor told like, go a semester, if you don't like it, quit. And then you can go transfer to another school. I thought that fair enough. And then I attended the Bible school called Naya. So, but at Naya they have a chapel service from Monday to Friday. And but Saturday they have a special chapel. Or Friday they have a special chapel, because the missionary speak the mission work from other country, and then I really enjoy a lot. So on that Friday, one missionary showed the picture of a boy, and was watching the cows, and then the missionary was saying simple thing: who gonna go? And who responsible for that boy? And when I looked to that boy, he looked like like just very short, and looked despair and lost. And then I thought like, wow, if I didn't come to this country, I probably would end up like that boy, lost and no hope and despair. And then I just stood up in the front row and just raised my hand like, Lord, send me to Cambodia. Send me to Cambodia. And so after that, it's a long journey. I mean, like until the Lord called us back to go back to Cambodia in '95. So we married in '92, and then I was pastoring in the Brown Church for a couple years, and then '95, God called us to Cambodia. And when we told friends and family that we're going to go to Cambodia, and then they kind of look at us like, you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Everybody want to get out of the country. Why you want to go back? And but like Tina shared, we shared with them, we told them like, no, we're not going back to the killing field. We are going back to the living field. And God has been using us there for 30 years. And we are so grateful and rejoice for what God had done, not us. And so some of the picture here that we have 2 grown sons that were born and raised in Cambodia. Justin and Katie, they are right now serving the Lord in Middle East. And please pray for them, because right now there's a war fighting and a shooting. They are one of the country in that they've been serving right now. So Justin and Katie both are nurses, registered nurse, and they've been serving there and focused with the refugee from Syria. So pray for them, and they are going to be on home assignment in April. And so pray for all the transition, and especially with the war fightings going on, that they be alert at all time. And also our youngest son with the gray striped shirt, and he's 23 years old, still figured out. He finished high school but didn't go to college yet, and still figured out right now he's served with the church in Hawaii. So please pray for him too, and he still figured out what God really have placed for him. And we're so grateful, and God have give us three grandchildren, and another one coming up in May. So I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you.
The Cambodian or the Khmer people, which is known, they're very direct people, upfront and straightforward. And before we start a conversation, they ask 3 questions that the people in the West would not ask. Question number 1, how old are you? Number 2, how much do you make? Number 3, how much do you weigh? So there's reason for this question because we do not call people by first name basis. We need the age to know if they are old enough to be Brother John, Uncle Tom, or Auntie Sue. So know to age is important before we carry on. How much do you make? Because rural people do not believe banks. They put their monies in under the carpets or invest there. They buy jewelries or they buy cows, buffaloes, and cattle in fields. So they need to know in case of a medical emergency, would we have a reliable neighbors we can borrow for quick for emergency fund until we sell off the cows and pay off. So people go about both about how much they make, and this is also an opportunity for the rich people exploit the poor, boasting about their richness and take advantage of the poor. How much do you weigh? Because the people there are more skinny, eat rice and fish, below poverty level, and so they want to be extra cushion and a little bit layer of fats, and so they boast about the weight because that I want to know how your house must have a lot of food, so I'm going to your house. So they want to know about the weight, and then they don't about I gained so much weight. Good, that's a good sign. You gain weight, that's a good sign. It's not a bad thing for Cambodians to say. So if you meet the Khmer people and they ask you through 3 questions, please do not give them blue eyes. They meant well. It's just that culture expect that way.
Yeah, the next picture, please. So when we've been moving to 4 locations and we serve the Lord there, but our last location on by the star and called on Long Wayne. And last term when we were on home assignment and we were asked to go to this location, and because like the Long Wayne was the stronghold for the leader of the company leader that hiding in that area. And when our leader called us and asked us like, would you be willing to go to that place? And when we saw that place, we kind of look at each other like we thought like, what if we got kidnapped? What if they're gonna try to hurt us? And so it's a lot of what if. And so we pray, and then we kind of look back like, you know what? God has saved us during the killing field. We will survive. And we came to the Bronx. We survived for 4 years too. And also God sent us to Poipat. And Poipat, I can tell you a lot of story about snakes and everything, and landmines. And we survived there for 13 years. And we thought like, oh, might as well try to this place because, you know. So we say yes and to go. But last time 2022 when we say yes, and our friend because like that used to work in that area, and he died with traffic accident. And so then we kind of like very discouraged, like what should we do, and then what could happen. And so then when we returned, and we just met a lot of people that after Kwong died, and a lot of people step up and kind of more like go and witnessing and sharing the gospel. So we want to show you with this video about after Mr. Kwong died, his brother just stepped up.
For me, my question is why it happened to him. I didn't question God, Michael. I just question like,
Why him?
why him?
How have an accident that nobody should survive? Everybody would think that he will not lie. God intervened. The power of Jesus healed him. He became a passionate evangelist.
All he knew that go and share the gospel. That is passion. This guy have just a simple motorbike and just travel. We cannot catch up with him.
Through the sharing of his testimony, 7 churches established.
It's amazing. It was amazing.
God's hand was upon him, and people were coming to the Lord left and right. He's very popular to witness good news of Jesus Christ to all his brothers and sisters. And as a result, most of his siblings came to Christ, and one of them was Ian.
My brother used to be a mean person. He was selfish. After praying, he had love for others. He shared his faith. He was filled with compassion and kindness. I wanted to be a part of the family of Christ too. I asked my brother, how can I follow Jesus? I prayed, God, where you send me, I will go.
So Paul and Finn, they work alongside to each other and really working well and always connecting.
While Kong was busy serving God on land, Ian was busy serving God on the lake.
And sometimes Paul had to come to the floating village to help his brother. And sometimes I see Ian come to the land helping Kong. So they seem like back and forth and helping each other.
So wonders and miracles took place. New believers making new believers, make disciples. After several years of working alongside with Kong, we went on home assignment. We share his story about God work on his life. One Sunday after we had shared, we finished and we on our way home.
All of a sudden we look at our phone and we saw the notification about Mr. Kong.
It said that Kong and his brother were traveling from one province to the next and had an accident with an 18-wheeler's truck and full force collision and Kong died instantly.
I probably read again and again, and I just say that it could not be true. Could not be true.
I just so overwhelmed at the loss and I grieve. This is like a brother to me.
When I said yes to God's call, I didn't fully understand how hard it would be. Following Jesus means carrying my cross just like he did.
He had planned to partner with his brother hand in hand serve together. Now as though God was removing his right arm. Shortly after Kong's death, we heard that he quit his job. He had good, successful, prominent government job. We asked him why you quit your job or before retirement and he was on the benefit and to serve without receiving anything. He said, life is short. People are dying every day.
I see sheep without a shepherd and I'm ready to take care of them. They are lost and confused. I have no reward on earth to offer them, but God promised a bigger reward.
We are calling it to the foreign village. Sometimes we travel, even if he didn't have any money, and he just like compelled, like I have to go, I have to share the gospel. Life is too short. Even to risk his life, he would do that because of the gospel.
Ian said, my brother did his job and he did it well. Now it's my turn to carry on the torch of my brother.
The floating village is really hard to reach. They don't have anything. They don't have any religion. They never hear the gospel. That's why the goal is to go to them.
It's lonely place, so they welcome to visit and they
felt encouraged and felt love. Wow, you would come all this way using precious fuel and come to visit me. You demonstrate that love of Christ by go visit them, even nobody willing to go to them.
Can I become the lines I cross? Prove you're always in my head.
As long as God gives me breath, I will continue to carry on the torch of my brother. And this is what keeps me going in the hardships. My God is faithful.
Teach me how to feast and dance when your brother's home again.
We still grieve the loss of our dear brother come, and we still don't have the answer. Why? But one day when we go up to heaven, we'll know the full answer. Right now, we just see the evidence that God never abandoned the church. He's building His kingdom in Cambodia.
One of the Alliance core values is lost people matter to God and He wants them found. Each of you have played a unique part in completing the Great Commission of Jesus Christ in Cambodia through your prayer and financial support. Today, what you're going to see and to hear and all the pictures that we're going to show, it's not about us. We are not a hero or anything, and we just simply call and obedient to what God has been using us. And so we want to share this picture, all the works that God has been doing with you, and share to celebrate with you too that what God has been doing.
The first thing when we step foot in Long Way, it was, it was the headquarters of the regimes who orchestrate, eliminate all the educated and all the upper class. So education was very low. So God put in our heart. We go to look street school nearby. The school is just empty buildings, no books, no resource, and the kids learn through dictations from the teachers. And we said, what if we have a library and stack up books for these children? And we just have a burden, and God provide, and we scout the land, and God provided the fund. We build. In the process of building a library, we present our vision to the school teachers. And we said, what if we can help you, partner with you? And the teachers said, Pastor, with all this money and resource you give to us, you could have built this school in a big city, but you chose to live among us. Let us partner with you. So in the cultures of corruption, we ran to red tapes, asking permission, everything costs money. And the teachers, let us run permission slips. So they went about get permissions. And then we get appointed day, we get the library bill, and we looking to clean up the big space and the few and the teachers said, let us help. So they closed the school for one day, and they sent all the big kids to come cut the grass, clean up and everything. And they and on the dedication day, and on November 8, 2024, we invite 300 of their older kids to come to participate. And the library, we named it the Firm Foundation Library. And they stay behind to clean up too. And so this is a resort to give to children books, and we have class, we have team come, brought guitar, we have music lesson, we have computer lesson, we have basically that just cater to what the school and the how the teachers appreciate, and the parents appreciate that this library is being open to the community. And so we will put that. Next picture, please. Yeah.
So I'm reading from Matthew chapter 25, verse 34 to 39. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I need clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go visit you?
The Cambodian have a saying, what you tell me about your God, Jesus, may be noble and true, but I cannot hear you because my stomach is growling. Our effort is to bring all of Jesus to all the world, to every corner of Cambodia, but they cannot hear the gospel because they hunger. So we cannot shove the gospel in their throat. We're looking for a way to meet them where they are. And God gave us opportunity to meet them where they are. We're looking for a way to partner with the community. Upon arrival, we told the village leaders and the chief of police and the school principal, we told them, we're going to be here for the next 4 years. How can we help your community? And so we partnered with the school. We showed up at the feeding program that they have in the morning. And kids walk far away to home and they provide free breakfast, but the children are required to bring their utensils and dishes. And sometimes they forgot and then no breakfast for them. So we donate pots and pans and dishes for that. When team come to visit us in Cambodia, they ask, what can they bring? We said, go to Costco and buy vitamins for us. So we took vitamin and they'll give to the children and they line up after breakfast, they come and receive the vitamins. And the parents with smaller kids who don't have old enough kids to go to school yet, they come and brought the children to get the vitamins too. And when we meet them and we ask if we can go visit their home and meet them where they are. So vitamin, and we ask the teacher, how can we work? We cannot help everybody, but how can we help? And they will highlight a few families, some needy family, and so we make sure the children have enough uniforms to go to the wear, school supplies, and whatever the family need for that. So the teacher will highlight. And the chief of police would ask us, can you help? There's a lot of crimes in the area and we need security guard and we need uniform. Can you help with some uniforms? So we buy some uniform for the night guard and because the crime of the dark and no street lights, so we donate solar panels to keep the community safe. And then a school asks, we have no water. Then we raise funds to build a deep well for them. And a church from New Jersey saw the children walking so far away and they put penny collections and we raised from that money we bought 2,000 water bottles to give out to the students. And we're looking for ways, and when team come to visit, we ask them their specialty. Last time we have a nurse, nursing practitioner. Can you teach them healthcare class in the public school? And we organize classes in the school program and way to put. See, in Cambodia, Buddhist teaching is mandated in the school, and Christianity is banned. But they know we are the Jesus people. And when we go and present at the request, we have opportunity to share Jesus to these people and here. We also, beside the community, we chose to live in Long Wang for the past 8 years. And we saw these little children hang around and come to the soccer field, the Jesus soccer field, and go to the Jesus library. And we never met their parents. We wonder where their parents are. And we learned that their parents went to Thailand or Korea to one job, and the little ones take care of themselves. And those kids was in danger. They quit school and they got bullies or they gangsters. So we formed soccer ministry and became a huge success. All the kids come to play in our soccer field. And we have once a month, we have community outreach. We have about 100 kids or more come and play games, and we have the discipleship training. We focus on whatever God gives us opportunity in that one, because they cannot hear the gospel unless their needs are met first. And for the believers, whatever they're available, we have classes throughout, and farmers do the work in the farms in daytime. Evening time, we go to their house for Bible study and discipleship class and all that. So we have stories upon story how people come to Christ. Church attend activate the fame of Jesus. People are being spread in the country. People want to find out who are these Jesus people, and they will come and we come. And for us, the number of attendance does not impress us. No, the number of baptism does not impress us because everybody can come, and because of poverty, people come to church looking for rice, looking for medical help, anything. So we just, you're welcome, come. But they say, no, if you tell us more about Jesus, then we learn about that. And story upon story come. I won't tell you all, but I'll tell you one story chain. The same biggest picture. On August 2024, Chain approached us. Pastor, I love the word of Jesus, and I want this news to tell or be told to my family too. Can you come to visit us and tell this about Jesus to my family? So we set a date and we traveled to his home. His hometown is in a remote place. The car cannot go through, so we had to ride a motorbike. And after driving about 7 kilometers, we didn't see any house in the side, only forest and landmines, dangerous. I said, oh, this is crazy. What if we go and step on landmine and we get killed? Should we go back or should we go forward? But we knew that Chain was expecting us. So we went, and when we arrived, said, wow, you came all this way? You came as you promised? Come, welcome to our house. And after we sat down and chit-chat a little bit, and we thought, Chain, can you tell us your story? How you meet Jesus? And this is Chain's story. In April 2016, after he was imprisoned in Thailand for 3 years from illegal logging, he was sent back to Cambodia through the border called Poi Bat. Broke, penniless, hungry. His home was 200 kilometers away from Poi Bat and in a long way. His hope was that if I have enough food to eat, I will walk 200 kilometers to go to my home. But he met the Jesus people at the border. And we came, we gave care package of water and drinks and dry noodles and clothes. And then we learned about his home far away. We arranged bus fare so he can take a bus to a long way as well. And he was amazed. Who are these people? I was a stranger to them. Why are they so nice to me? And then when he came to a long way, after he found his family, he said, I met the Jesus people. They're so kind to me. I'm going to believe in God. But for the next couple of years, Chain struggled with finding job to feed his family. And he'd go from home to home, village to village, looking for any job he would find. And but everywhere he go, would ask, do you know the Jesus people in this town? That's a term for Christians in Cambodia. And it's a good name, not a bad bet. And so one day, Chain went to a shop, and the shop owner was, Jesus people, my family go to church, and my church have building a library looking for a worker. Why don't you go hire yourself and get work there? So he quickly went and got a job there and became one of the construction workers. And we learned about his passion. We gave him a Bible and then given instruction to read. In Cambodia, as you experience, very hot. During noontime, it can go to up 110 degrees, so everybody would take a nap. But Chain, no, he read his Bible, even the heat of the day. And he loved reading the Bible. But when it came to Matthew 25, he said, Teacher, that's my story. How do you know? I was a stranger. I met the Jesus people at the border. I was hungry, they fed me, and they gave me water, they gave me bus fare. That's my story. And through that, Chain came to the Lord, and his family came to the Lord. Our effort is to bring all of Jesus to all the world, but we can't just shove the gospel to them. We meet them where they are. How can we partner with them? Bring a need, how we can meet with them. So people come, check in. Oh, who are these Jesus people? And they give free food. Let's come. So again, we're not impressed with the number of attendance. But if they show consistent week after week, and they say, I want to know more about Jesus. Can you tell me? Then we explain the salvation plan. And if they say yes to all that, we ask one more question. Are you willing to cut off your spirit string? And then they pause. Because that's cost. That's the decision of the heart. You see, local Cambodians, Buddhism is 80% of the population. It's a mandate by the country. And besides Buddhism, they go instead of go when they get sick, they go to local healers, witch doctors. At a price, the witch doctor will give them a string that they wear around their body, hidden under clothes, all their lives. This string, at a customer price, promise protection, healings, and prosperity. So if they cut off, that means they cost money and they are exposed to the dangers. And so if they say yes, we not quickly pray for them. We ask them, this is the cost for cutting the string. A young wife, if your husband finds out that your string cut off, you might be risking being divorced or beaten by your husband. Are you okay by that? Teenager, if your parents find out that your string cut off, it costs them money to put on. If you cut off, you might be kicked out of the house. Are you okay by that? Adult, if your community know that you become the Jesus people, they might kick you out and not welcome you into the community. Are you okay by that? And if you say yes, they said, tonight, when you go to sleep, you may have bad dreams and nightmares, and those demons will come and scare you. But that's okay, there's power in the name of Jesus. If you have bad dreams, just shout the name of Jesus and the devil will run away. And we told them up front before we pray for them. Are you okay by that? If they say yes, then we cut off the spirit string in front of the public. We cut it off and we burn the string, a symbol that their old life being no longer have control of them. They belong to Jesus Christ now. So when we go to the village, we don't just bring the Bible, we bring a pair of scissors with us. But I wonder, in America, in the Western culture, you don't have strings or spirit realm. But I wonder what other string that hold us back from saying yes to Jesus. Maybe string of education, string of good jobs, peer pressures, whatever things. In Cambodia, then yes, simply yes is not enough, must show sincerity in action. What are the strings that hold you back and let free you, handicap you from serving God? So maybe Jesus demanded to cut it off too.
The next picture, please. The king will reply, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of this brother and sister of mine, you did for me. The next one. So last time we've been rejoicing for people, over 300 people got baptized, and we saw it was the most rejoiced because they can share, talk about the old life, have been buried with Jesus, and they talk about the new life that they have with Christ. And so they brag about it. They talk about they are the Jesus people, and wherever they go, they have been known like the Jesus people. Next one. And so they got next one, please. Yeah, next one. Yeah. So for the end. So we just ask you to continue to pray for mission that all around the world, and also pray and supporting those that have been on the process, like to become a missionary, supporting them and encourage them, and whatever that you can do, and work with them, and also if it's possible, pray, give, and possible, and go also to wherever the country that God work in your heart, and to go. And also we have a sign up sheet over there if you want to follow up our monthly prayer report. So please write your name, and so we can send to you a monthly prayer report. The theme for the alliance and all of Jesus for all the world. And it's just not us sitting to stand in front here. It takes all of you too to get involved, and it's matter to God. Thank you so much and for having us and sharing. Thank you.